Yes. Could you call the secretaries of state of each and every state of the United States? I just wanted to make sure that we understand what persecution is. Yes. And then what delusion is. Delusion is thinking that what you're experiencing um, is a reality to the individual, but it's not the true reality of what's really going on. Now, let's say we looked at the law in the encyclopedia, letter L. You would think that each and every judge of the United States would always want to take the opportunity to speak to both parties whenever possible, explaining to them what the law says, because I'm not a professional person. I'm not an attorney, Phyllis. As you said, I'm not an attorney or an expert on the law. Poop! But I inform judges what the law says, and they say, well, not in our jurisdiction in the state of Washington. Yes. Is it your jurisdiction to arrest me for not paying child support? You'd motion the court. You'd act like you served me, but you wouldn't because you say I'm homeless and you don't know where I'm at. Ouch. And then you'd arrest me for not paying child support, and I owe twice as much child support as any other divorcee in the United States of America because somebody decided to really screw my life up so that if I did pay child support, it'd go on one of the divorces, but it wouldn't go on the other one. And eventually, I'd end up paying twice as much in child support for my 5 minors named. Now, this is what's called the law. Yes. There's different branches of the law, and then there's public law. Yes. Now, this involves the government directly. It defines a person's rights and obligations in relation to government. Public law also describes the various divisions of government and their powers. Yes. Public law can be divided into four branches: criminal law, constitutional law, administrative law, and international law. In many cases, the branches of public law, like those of private law, overlap. For example, a violation of administrative law may also be a violation of criminal law. Now, let's think about the administration of the Secretary of State. You're getting sued in each and every state of the United States. Now, I informed you, yes, Phyllis, yeah, that I'm not an attorney or an expert on the law either. But I have spent a considerable amount of time and energy in the library researching the laws. And today I was researching the various properties that I had purchased. Yes. A property that I purchased before I got married. Yes. Because we got married in Kosovo. Yes. And then the property I purchased across the street from the Washington State School for the Blind so that my stepdaughter could go to school there. There was no reason to move to Vancouver except for my want to support my wife and kids. Yes. Now, my wife, maiden named Heidi L. Griggs, yes, divorced me twice. Poop. She divorced me twice in 2013. And when I found out that today, yes, because I never got a copy of the dissolution of marriage. It's possible that the state of Washington might have a copy of it. Yeah. However, he has misapplied some of them in his case. I've misconstrued the intent of the laws in order to bolster my own perceptions. Yes. Well, here's my perception. When you issue a dissolution of marriage without any jurisdiction of law, and then you issue two of them, yes, I would say it violates criminal laws, yes, constitutional law, yes, administrative law, and international law. Now let's really consider it for a second. I decide to motion. I decide to motion the court, yes, to appeal the dissolution of marriage and the protection order where there are forgeries, right? There's Heidi Lee Budnick and Heidi Lee Budner, yes. Each of them had to have a dissolution of marriage. And then I go to the state of Washington and I say, well, I never got actual notice of court hearings. Yes. I didn't get the facts and findings of the law, Judge Rohrer. Yes. And could you call former Governor Gregoire that appointed you to office, Judge Rohrer? Now, at the time of 2012, before the election, Oh, you had just become a Superior Court judge in 2013, approximately a week after that. Well, I looked at your oath of office. Pooch! Now, let's say it's criminal to violate the civil rights of American citizens because you never gave me any notice of court hearings. Now, let's say that there's some administrative obligation as a judge that you should have made sure that I got notice and the opportunity to be heard so that you, as a judge, could tell me the actual conditions of the dissolution of marriage. Yes. And then I would have signed a form that said I was in court. Yes. And I had received a copy of it. Now, usually, if you get a copy of your dissolution of marriage, yeah, and you found out your wife decided to bribe a clerk to file it twice with the state of Washington so that you owe twice as much child support. Yes. Most respondents to a dissolution of marriage, when they find out that their spouse, yes, they gave them no notice of court hearings, yes, that did not make sure that they got notice, yes, didn't make sure that they had reciprocity as a court, yes, that they filed it twice with the state of Washington. Isn't that right? Yeah. I got 2 dissolutions of marriage without any notice of court hearings so that you could completely fuck with me for the last 7 years. See, I go to the state and I say, I owe child support? Yeah, but I never got a dissolution of marriage. Well, one employee looks at this one, because they have 2 different reference numbers. Ooch. And another employee looks at that one. And then it goes back and forth and back and forth. And eventually, you know what happens? You say, I'm crazy. And then when you say I'm delusional, Phyllis, my perceptions, they do fit because the state of Washington allowed for this county, yes, they did, to file 2 dissolutions of marriage with the state. Yes, I actually got copies of the reference numbers. Now, I want to explain something, okay? I, as a potential husband, had purchased a place in Swim, Washington, yes, before we were married, so that I had a place to move my family, my brand new family, before I had 5 kids. And then the thought was, well, we have a nice little place, and I was a financial consultant at Washington Mutual. Yes. And you notice what's really weird, yes, is this this Heidi Budnick, Paul C. Yes. And then legal last name Budnick, Heidi L. Yes. Birth last name Griggs, right. On February 11th of 2013, Clallam County decreed plaintiff 2. Ooh. Now, there is an actual different number here. 25F7C78-FA1C-8FB9FA887D9C248C. Yes. Now, that's kind of an interesting number. Oh, plaintiff 2. Now, if we look at image number 2, maybe, yeah. Let's look at it just for a second. How does the state generate 2 different reference numbers? For the same divorce? Yes. Because my wife was divorced twice before? Yeah. And each of those previous husbands each got 1 divorce each? Yes. But I got 2 divorces without any notice of court hearings? Yes. Without the court having any actual jurisdiction? Yes. And then you decided, right, plaintiff number 2. And then the second reference number is 3208D22565E2. Oh, 43B. Oh, are they not the same? Hang on just a second here. Image with a no number on it. Let's see. 3208D225. Yeah. No, I could be delusional. Let's just make sure that I know what I'm talking about. Because I was real sure that I had it. Oh, hang on. Oh, let's see here. Secretary of State. Oh, 25F. Look at the reference numbers are different. Now, this is how you persecute somebody, Phyllis. Yes. You have a fucked up county right now. that decides that they don't want to talk to the respondent, and they make sure the respondent doesn't get notice of court hearings, and then they violate their oath of office. Because when I was going through the oaths of office, there must be some legal obligation on the part of those that are elected or appointed to office, yes, to inform the respondent and the party's name, that would be the petitioner also, yes, it would, that these are the actual conditions of the dissolution of marriage. Now, Mr. Budnick, yes, you have an obligation to pay child support. Do you understand that? Yes. And if you cannot pay, the state of Washington would like you to contact them. Yes. Now, this is Ken Williams. Look at that. The same individual, yes, that was a Superior Court judge during. Well, did you ask for a copy right now? Phyllis, I'm bolstering my own perceptions. Two different reference numbers, yes. Two different divorces, yes. Twice as much child support.